And welcome to the Almost Daily Dave on a Tuesday, July 28th. And they played baseball yesterday. I'm Dave Lamont. Thank you. This is the Junior Hot Shops version of the Nooner with Dave, which is Monday through Friday. And if you don't know Junior Hot Shops, you missed out. Look it up. It's worth your time. Shops spelled, by the way, with, I believe, 2 P's and an E, plus, of course, the S at the end and the beginning. So, yes, they played baseball yesterday. And when we spoke live on the Nooner yesterday, there was some concern about the rest of the schedule. Already 2 games had been postponed, the Marlins-Orioles down in Miami and the Phillies-Yankees in Philadelphia. The Marlins are still in Philadelphia, but guess what? They played ball yesterday. I think there was a rainout in Cleveland, so there's a doubleheader scheduled today, and the rest of Major League Baseball carried on as if nothing had happened. And it wasn't even the least bit surprising, and here's something else. Good. We're on borrowed time, potentially, with COVID-19 affecting baseball because unlike the other sports that have returned so far, and we have to exclude football from this, there is a bubble environment around the NHL, Zippo positive tests. The NBA had a recent 0 test, and they have jumped on every tiny mistake, every little thing that's happened so far. Major League Soccer sailing along in a bubble in Orlando. It's all going well in a bubble. We know about baseball. We know what they did. But what amused me yesterday, and what I kind of want to talk about in the few minutes we have here today, is the reaction or even overreaction. Because this is one of the great social media diseases. While social media definitely has its benefits, for example, being able to broadcast right there, the negatives is the rush to judgment, the race to the finish line. It's literally like watching Big Daddy Don Garlits going down the track in 3 seconds. We're all grabbing phones, you're sitting at laptops, and quickly tweeting or putting on Facebook or anywhere we can think of our thoughts about something. And I do it too, so I am certainly far from guiltless in this matter. But what we lack when we do this is any sort of perspective. How many of you grabbed your phones or sat at your laptops or made a social media post yesterday about, well, that's it for baseball? Probably a lot of you. I didn't go quite that far. I personally am proud of myself for a little bit of restraint for once. I did make fun of MajorLeagueBaseball.com still having the Orioles and the Marlins game listed as a game to be played. That was a little goofy. But that's as far as I went socially. I think we lose perspective. In the race for first, all we think about is the headline. How many times have you looked at your Facebook feed? And this really happens on Facebook a lot. And seen something from a website you've never heard of before, and it just doesn't even make any sense, yet you click like if it fits your point of view of the world. And then you come to find out it's either a satire site with just somebody trying to be funny, or just so completely outlandish, there's not a credible shred to it. But again, it fits your worldview, and you go for it. We have to go past the headlines. And that goes for not just sports, but in sports, you've got to go past the headlines. You've got to add some perspective. And let's think about the perspective part of this. Where else were there positive tests around Major League Baseball yesterday or Sunday? Nowhere. We had a bunch of games on the West Coast, hours away by plane from Philadelphia. So why would you stop them from playing? You shouldn't have. And to their credit, they didn't stop. They played. What's it going to take to continue an uninterrupted baseball season? I'm not sure we can have that. But only the commissioner has that discretion. And even he's not showing his cards, whether he just doesn't have cards or whether he doesn't want to talk about it right now. That's up to him. But he's the only one that can put a pause on the season or cancel it completely. Hope it doesn't happen. I've enjoyed having the game back. You know, I think for the first time in 61 years, nobody went 3-0 on the opening weekend. You realize that? Nobody went 3-0. This could be a hotly competitive season if we can get through it without major interruptions. And there's already talk of rescheduling the Orioles and the Marlins and the Phillies and the Yankees, and particularly the latter, because the Yankees are fully expected to be contenders, while the Orioles and the Marlins, we kind of know their fates are not going to be. You know what? One of those teams is going to come out of that 2-game series with a winning record because they're both 2-1. So here's my hope. perspective. Let's not rush to judgment all the time. Now, sometimes rushing for judgment does lead to good change, positive change. Sometimes it leads to negative. And you sit back 3 or 4 weeks later and go, why did we do that again? Do you remember why? I don't remember why. So that's my hope. We get through our seasons as best as possible. What it means for football down the road, we have to think about that. But if the expression of one day at a time ever mattered in sports, it matters right now. Every day without headlines of positive tests is a win. Or every day where the headline is 0 positive tests or an extremely low number is a win. And that's the only way we're going to get through this from a sports perspective, is literally one day at a time. I'll be back tomorrow with the Almost Daily Dave. And I got some thoughts for you amateur hurricane forecasters out there. Until then, I'm Dave Lamont, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. This will go up on YouTube. Please subscribe. It's free.